Hello, everyone. Welcome to CricPunts with Fasi. We are at the end of day one of the first test match between India and England. And boy, have England arrived in India. I told you in the last video that they are not going to be a rollover for India, and they are a team which come well prepared every time, and they have shown us why. Yes, there's a lot of cricket to be played. This is just the beginning of the first test match, but England have a real good foundation. They made the Indians toil hard on this hot, humid day in Chennai, and boy, they will be needing some fluids at the end of the day. So let's start with England. What did they do well? To start with, they won the toss on a very flat pitch and they decided to bat and they capitalized on it. They really got a very good start from the openers. I mean, they just played out the new ball, didn't take much risk. They put on a 50 run stand and everything seemed to be going in England's favor in the first session. And just at the cusp of lunch, India broke through not once, but twice. Rory Burns played a unnecessary shot, unnecessary reverse sweep to a very straight ball and got out. And then Lawrence got a real jaffa from Jasprit Bumrah. He had literally no chance. He was beaten for pace, the ball tailing in. And after lunch, India started really well. Especially the first spell from Jasprit Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, and Ravichandran Ashwin. They kept a leash on the scoring rate of England team. They didn't give away anything. At one point, Root literally took 23 balls to get off mark after lunch, and just when you thought, something's about to give, there's a wicket around the corner because Sibley was getting a bit fidgety with Ashwin. Just when you thought that, the newcomers came into the attack and released all the pressure. To be fair to them, the pitch wasn't offering anything. There was no spin or anything. England really planned this well, because they respected the senior bowlers in Jasprit Bumrah, Ishant Sharma, and Ravichandran Ashwin, but they targeted the newcomers and, especially Root. He was sweeping them, reverse sweeping them, getting a big stride to the ball, using his long reach and driving through the long on region. He was fabulous to watch, and it was a scintillating 100. I mean, he is just continuing his merry run, and, he just continued from where he left off in Sri Lanka, scoring those daddy hundreds. I think Root really took it to heart, all this conversation about him not converting the 50s into hundreds. I think he's taken it upon himself that every time he scores a 50 in 2021, he's going to convert it into a big daddy 100. And he is on his way in this test match as well. And those are ominous signs for India. And, special mention to Sibley as well. He literally did what Pujara does to other teams. He just batted long. He showed a lot of patience. He was leaving the balls outside off stump. He just played so well. And that partnership, it was so good to watch. And they have put England in the front foot and they have an excellent foundation to build upon. I think we talked about this in the last video, what England can do to tackle India. And this was one of those important things, that they need a big first innings total, somewhere like 450, 500, even though that wasn't enough the last time around. But they need they need a big first innings total to put Indian batsmen under pressure and give that extra bit of cushion to the bowlers, to bowl in this docile conditions. So what could India have done better? Well, to be honest, you can't really fault them, because there's not really much they did wrong, because this is a very flat pitch. I mean, there is no pace, no bounce, no spin. I mean, when was the last time you saw first slip standing in front of the keeper and wearing a helmet? That's right. That is exactly what happened today. And no, Rohit Sharma was standing in front of Rishabh Pant wearing a helmet because the edges weren't carrying. They were dying down. It was a very slow pitch. The Indian bowlers had nothing to work with. One thing, if you really wanted to be critical about, one thing would be, well, Nadeem wasn't really economical. He was bowling way too short and way too wide. But the credit goes to England batsmen again, especially Root, because he put the newcomers under a lot of pressure by using those sweeps and reverse sweeps to a very good effect. But as we've seen throughout the Australian series, you just can't rule out this Indian team. And, we got to see that right at the end of the day, Jasprit Bumrah toiling hard all day long, and he produced a little beauty just at the end of the day, what turned out to be the last ball of the day. We are nicely poised in this test. We have a lot to look out to. And don't be fooled by this pitch, guys, because the first couple of days, this is how the pitch plays in subcontinent. And, especially if you compare it with the Australian series or places like England, where there's always something for offer on those pitches for the bowlers. So this might seem a little boring to you, but trust me, this is a traditional attrition day of cricket, and this is how things operate in subcontinent. And don't be fooled by this pitch, guys. This will start turning square from day 3 onwards. So there's a lot to look forward to. Hopefully, India will come back with a good reply tomorrow. And before just signing off, there's one thing I needed to talk about. That is exclusion of Kuldeep Yadav. There's been a lot of talk about it on social media, and commentators weren't really happy about it. I think they really had no choice, because consider this: when you have Akshar Patel in the team, who was about to play today, who got injured at the last moment, had he played, there was a lot of balance to the team in terms of batting as well. Because if you consider it, after Rishabh Pant at 5, if there is no Akshar Patel, there is no one to bat. There's Ravichandran Ashwin, who has not been in a great nick. So then there's Ravichandran Ashwin, Kuldeep Yadav, Shahbaz Nadeem, and Jasprit Bumrah, Ishant Sharma. That's a pretty long tail, after 5th wicket. And India can't risk that. So they needed that batting all-rounder. That is why they had to go with Washington Sundar. Yes, you could say, why Shahbaz Nadeem? They could have played both Washington Sundar and Kuldeep Yadav. Well, I think one reason might be because he's a like-for-like replacement for Akshar Patel, who is in return a replacement for Ravindra Jadeja. But another reason is England really suffered against left-arm spinners in Sri Lanka. So that might be a factor, and you could see that come into play when the pitch starts spinning more. And right now it's a batting paradise, and I think England should really make use of the start and score a very big first innings total, like somewhere around 500, 450. So yeah, we don't really know what's in store for us, but hopefully another cracking day of cricket. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about today's play and what India could have done differently and what they need to do tomorrow. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow after day's play. Until then, like, share, and subscribe.